G'day, there you go. Well, this is going to be one of those mental health videos, so if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, or you get triggered, switch off, watch something else. Alright, but these are a few things that I need to get off of my chest, and after doing the last one I got some pretty good feedback, which was good, and there was a couple of people that actually said they felt as though it helped to know that there's other people out there suffering things and doing things, and and a lot of the time when they said that what I was talking about they could relate to, and that's very important. Now so any triggers, or just turn it off. It's okay. It's alright, right? Because and this is why I wanted to talk about it, is because I watched Matty did a full time to talk. It's a nice little program. Judging by what I've seen so far, is getting different people talking about different topics on mental health. We had I think it was the F&D, was the first one he did, and the second one was Darren from Only Leeds Brothers talking about his grief with his father passing away, and this is what led me on to doing this one, because there's a couple of things that came out of it. One of it was perception, and I'll go into that. I think I'll do that first. No, I'll do that last, because the other thing I wanted to talk about was triggers. Now, for me, that particular video, and I watched it twice, because I had to turn it off halfway through because I was getting annoyed. Getting annoyed over somebody else talking about how much they love their dad. Because I could relate to it, very much so, but not for the same reasons. Darren was talking about it. I lost my mum in 1984. She was only 51, and I lost my dad 89, and he was 59. And listening to Darren talk about the relationship he had with his dad, I wasn't envious or anything like that, but all of a sudden I realised what I'd missed out on, because my dad wasn't. There was two things that my dad taught me I was grateful for. One was that without him I wouldn't be here, so I'm grateful for that. And the second thing was he taught me what not to be, as a dad, as a human being. The man wasn't violent or anything like that. He's very manipulative. So yeah, he used a lot of he used to really play with people's emotions and all the rest of it. I remember one time he'd wake up and he'd been sleeping on his side of his face, and he'd get a crease up here, and he would say things like, "Oh, it's you kids gave me a stroke during the night," and shit like that. And he didn't treat my mum very well. I've never hit her or anything like that, but it was very verbally and mentally, I reckon, abusive to her. And I won't go into the details of that, because they both passed away, and there's nothing I can do about it. I talked to a professional about it, I think, because it keeps it confidential. So that was to see the relationship that Darren had with his dad, and Dillo. Can't forget. Sorry, Dillo, I didn't mean to skip you out, but it was just that Darren was doing all talking because you weren't there. Um, and to see that kind of relationship building up, it sort of like made me realise what I'd missed out on, and made me think about my life and what I was like with my kids. Was because there was one thing that used to really piss, because I've got 5 brothers and 1 sister, and I'm the oldest. One of the things that really pissed the boys off was being told that you were just like your father, which was used by great effect by a couple of my wives. You're just like your father, just to wind you up. Anyway, so just give you an idea of what I suffer. So I get PTSD from that sort of thing, and it's all part of bullying, and I've got chronic depression, anxiety, and when I started out, essential tremors is hereditary, and can be brought on by stress, a lot of stress. So essential tremors was in the family, but not as bad as I've got it, and I think my youngest brother's got it even worse. But it is what it is, and it would have been okay. I would have only had slight tremors, because you'd hardly notice them. You'd notice, but you wouldn't. Nothing. And people used to mistake it for me drinking too much. You got the DTs and all the rest of it, but that wasn't anything to do with that, because I've stopped drinking them. My shaking's got worse, so maybe it calmed them down. But yeah. So anyway, so I had what is it? Where was I going with this? So I've been married 3 times. I've got the perfect wife at the moment. Well, I don't mean at the moment. I've got the perfect wife now. She's been very supportive, and she's going through similar stuff to what I'm going through. So we sort of like bounce off of each other. We run things past each other. We talk to each other a lot, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't. It takes a lot to get it out of me, but that's because of the way I've been brought up, and trying to change to become a better person. And like I said in my last video on mental health, I just want to feel normal. I want to know what it's like to feel normal again. So I've got notes here. So my essential tremors were mild, and there were no problem, but workplace bullying got to the point where my body just shut down and said no more, and that was it. And then the shaking just got worse. Every time I have a confrontation, get all flustered and get angry and all the rest of it. And then, of course, it exacerbated, brought on anxiety and depression, and all the friends that anxiety brings with it. And yeah, so that was it. So the 2 wives I had, I just married the wrong sort of person or female for me, in my opinion. I'm not going to go into any details or anything like that, because it's not worth it, and it's not. It takes 2 to tango. There was a lot of things said about me that weren't true, but I'm not going to sit there and say I wasn't to blame or anything like that. Like I said, it takes 2 to tango. So, and it just wasn't meant to be, as far as I'm concerned. I probably, in the second marriage, I jumped ship. I jumped into it too quick without thinking about it, looking for something that I probably wasn't ready. So a lot of that would be on me. And the marriage I've got now is exactly the sort of person that I need to make me a better person myself. So the things that trigger me are, like if I see people women being disrespected, or anybody being disrespected. If I see injustices, I get angry, I get frustrated, and yeah, it's very frustrating. So they're that's so those sorts of things trigger me. There's a lot of other stuff, but it's like anything. When it comes down to the crunch of sitting here in front of a camera and trying to talk about what's going through your head, all the stuff that you were going to talk about, all of a sudden, is gone. You can't think of a fucking thing to say. So now that was triggers. I'll swing between the two, triggers and perception. Perception I wanted to bring up because Matty brought it up. Matty he mentioned not being leads and full time to talk. There was an incident where I'd said something on one of his videos. I made a comment on his video and I said, get on with it or something like that. And then Matty appeared to get a bit narky about it. So I was sort of like, rather than, because this is one of the things I've learned, rather than go, have a shot back or something like that, or you don't know what you're talking about, I thought, hang on a minute, because I'd seen a video before that, and it was some guy showing his channel on their channel, something about all the Farker outers or something like that. So my perception of that was that he was angry with that person and because of my comment was taking it out on me. Now, the way I look at it is if I'd put, get on with it and put a couple of emojis of somebody laughing, maybe Matty wouldn't have taken it as... And this is where perception comes in again, because it's my perception that that's what he felt. My perception was that I'd triggered him, and that's one of the reasons I didn't talk back to him or have a say, well, you're talking out your ass, or you got it all wrong, or so. Just because sometimes you need to stop and think about what does this person actually mean, Excuse me once again for... I don't know why I'm apologising. I've got to do this because I get a tickle in my throat. So I'll do it whether I want it or not. You don't have to watch. So that was one of the things. So, and then I think Matty talked about it to me later. And said, I didn't know you as a person, because we didn't really know each other. And I've always been somebody who says what they think, or just like I'm one of these people where the brain says, "Don't." Oh fuck, he said it. Where my brain's sitting there going, "Don't say that," and then all of a sudden, oh fuck, you shouldn't have said that. So that, but I think Matty understands me now. So when he sees me, he knows that I'm joking. And one of the things that I've learned from all this is if somebody says something and you get, especially in the chat, especially on the internet, because there's a lot of people that talk shit. I learned that from when I first started on the internet, because there was a thing called ICQ, which was like a chat program, one of the very first ones. And the amount you'd sit there going, "Is this person?" I'd sit there going, "Is this person for real? Or are they talking bullshit?" And most of the time they were talking bullshit. Oh yes, this is really your picture, eh? That sort of thing. It was like, so the perceptions. Now, if I go back to the Matty thing, and by the way, Matty and I are all good with it. It's all done and dusted. The only reason I bring it up is because it's a perception, and it's something I can relate to, and Matty can relate to. So now Matty knows me a little bit better. So he takes everything I say in his chat with a pinch of salt, and And if he thinks that I've been disrespectful or anything like that, and the same goes for anyone else. I mean, I got pulled up by Jira on one occasion over something I'd sent or tagged him in, and we got that sorted out. He sent me a private message, explained the situation, and I was quite happy with that. It was great, and we had a bit of a laugh at the fact that we could have a sensible conversation without upsetting either one of us. When it comes to things on the internet, I don't really. It's a bit of a contradiction, but I don't really get upset when I'm in the chat or stuff like that. It's when I see the news and stuff like that, and you see all the stuff that's going on, it does your head in. The fact that people don't think about other people's feelings and stuff like that. So if I've ever said anything to anybody that you get upset over, just send me a private message and say, hey, you upset me or something like that. That's what I like. That's, so it's all about perceptions. And I think a lot of people jump up and down for no reason at all. Because what you've actually done is you've taken what somebody's written, a keyboard warrior has put down, and you've taken it to heart. And I'm starting to learn that. Well, I've already know. They're idiots, Oh, he called me a knobbin. Well, he's a dickhead, When did sticks and stones may break my bones become irrelevant, But when you suffer from mental health issues and stuff like that, it's very hard to not take things personally. And I do the same. I probably have done things like that myself, but I always analyse them later and think, yeah. Or you find out, I do my research, which is one of the things Karen's always telling me to do before I jump up and down. The other thing I don't like is when my character has been assassinated, or people try to assassinate my character, or say things that I said but I haven't said, or twist things around. That's another good one that people use, isn't it? You see that in the news today all the time with all sorts of people. They say, oh, this person said this, or this person said that, or they've done this and they've done that. And when you do the background check, which nobody bothers to do because they're too fucking lazy, you find out, oh, well, it wasn't that bad, was it? That's not exactly what he said. You've just taken this part of a conversation and blown it into this, That sort of thing does my head in, and all the rest of it. So where was I going with this? I don't know. I think I've said enough about that, but it's just something I want to get off my chest. So the full-time to talk is he's doing a weekly one, which I suggest that if you want to know a little bit about mental health and the different things in mental health, it's a good place to pop in and have a look. And you don't have to watch it. I just think that if you suffer from any sort of mental health issues, we need to talk about these sorts of things. The reason I've started doing this because the last one I did, two people got back to me and said, oh, thanks for sharing that because it's helped me. And that's what it's about. I've helped somebody. I've helped two people. And I've been meaning to do this one because when I did the first one, I felt so relieved. I wanted to do another one. But then, and this is the other thing that happens when you do these mental health things, is about a day later, I was so fucking tired. It was like I'd been drained. I felt relieved that I got a few things off my chest, but it was like I'm so tired. It was almost like I needed to have a bit of a lie down, which I did, and it took me a few days to get myself back together. And even now, I'm still not right. It's taken me ages to get this one out. to do this one. So it's not an easy thing to do this. I mean, because you're opening yourself up to the world. If you think that everything on the internet is all good, no, it's not. So I'm leaving myself open. I mean, like I talked about the sexual abuse that I had, well, sexual assault that I had in the last video. That leaves you open up to. I mean, I'm lucky nobody's said anything nasty about it, but my family didn't know about it, and I don't particularly think they would bother watching my videos anyway. So they probably still don't know about it, which is fine. I don't want them to know. It's embarrassing enough. But it helped 2 people, so it wasn't a bad thing after all. So I'm a good sort. Anyway, I think that's enough of that. I think I've had enough of that. Anyway, to end up, an Irishman. It's got to be an Irishman, doesn't it? After Darren's episode, Darren and Dill. Oh, you got to check out their Wake Up. It's really good. And where is it? It's this side, isn't it? Yeah, see that? Ming59. Thank you very much. There's an Irishman applies for a job on the BBC. Match of the Day, or is it ITV? I forgot which. And the guy says, "Oh look," he says, I'd like to commentate on the Match of the Day." He says, "Oh no." He says, "Look, you're Irish." He says, "No," he says, "you've got to give me a chance, otherwise I'll have you up for discrimination." And he says, "All right." He says, "Just ask me one question, any question you like." So he thinks to himself, "Oh yeah." He says, "All right. How many D's in Match of the Day?" The Irishman's thinking about it, and he says, "Oh, they got to be thousands." He says, "What? Thousands?" He says, "Yeah, thousands of D's in Match of the Day." He said, "How did you come up with that?" He says, "Well, D D D D D D D D D D D." And on that note, have a great week. There hasn't been much going on about Leeds, so I haven't put a video out. I might do something later. We'll see what it goes. Have a great week. Take care of yourselves, and I will catch you next time. Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.